Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the John McEntyre Show. I'm John McEntyre, and it is Hump Day. Today is quite sure it is Hump Day. I'm not sure. It is? Yes, it is. Okay. uh, Today is November the 20th, 2024. We are moving right along through this month here, getting deeper and deeper into this holiday spending season, as people like to call it. The reason why I'm saying that so many, every report, every article, talk show, whatever. They're talking about how people are spending money and they're looking for this one to be the biggest, um, the largest spending holiday of history and all of this good stuff. And I'm quite sure it will be, but not for the people who watch this and that follows their solid financial plans. They're not overspending and financing their Christmas shopping and all of this to where they'll buy it now and be paying for it for the rest of the next year, 2025, racked up in debt. But it is what it is. Um, we just have to, the deals are out there. There's no doubt about that. For the person that has that budget in place, has saved that money, you're going to get some good deals. You'll definitely get your money's worth. I'm not that big. I'm not that person that will go and sit in front of a building, in front of a store all night, waiting to get inside and all of this. I'm not one of those types, but I do get my deals. What I'm after, I do get it, and I get it as a very good deal. So had to say that because every day, and I'm going to talk about it until pretty much shopping is done because we have to stay on top of it. But we have a good show today. People that, well, before I get into that, I want to thank everyone for the wallet wins, sharing their stories and asking the questions and topic recommendations. I'm they're all being filed, and I'm paying attention to them. People, they're paying off debts, they're paying off cars, they're starting their investment funds, they're starting those college savings accounts, they're doing everything that it takes to make those small steps towards those big goals, which is the concept of wallet wins. And if you have your wallet wins, you want to share them, even if you want to share them during the show here, we will definitely, I welcome them, I will celebrate with you, and we will definitely put it on the show. If you have a question, put that uppercase Q or capital Q. I see it. I will definitely do my best to answer that question. Wallet win, hashtag wallet win, or um, if you just want to say something, you can say it. And remember, I'm welcoming guests. Where some things are coming down the pipeline where there will be more guest interviews on here with professionals, experts, as well as everyday people that are building that everyday wealth. They're just taking those steps, doing those wallet wins, and moving towards the financial future that they have set before themselves, their vision for their new financial future. All right, so let's get into this. Um, Everyone that knows me, um, I have talked about plenty of times. This time of the year, I do my goal planning. I set my goals, and I reflect on what went right, what didn't go so well, things like that for the year, and that helps me set up my goals and everything for the next year. Because I don't do New Year's resolutions, I set my goals in now, and I go into the year with momentum. With momentum, some may call them resolutions, and I just don't wait till the first of the year. I do it now, and by the time the first of the year hit, I've built my habit. The habit is all pretty much built, and I'm making some good progress there, especially for things that I do, that's very important to me, like health, our finances, business, this show, things like that. um, I'm working on them now. And a lot of people, they ask me, I receive the question a lot, especially in the career and business area, because we all know financial success, one of the foundations, the number one tool for building your financial success and your wealth is your income. And income comes from your job, your career. It comes from your career or your business or whatever it is. That's where it comes from. And so I've always said success in your career business causes a spillover into financial success if done correctly, and financial success watching your finances and wanting to get them on track and get on target financially will spill over into career and business. And study now that there used to be a time where you really had to dig deep to find these stats and everything, but now 50% of people that well, not 50%, but people that manage their money um, the right way has they're more productive in their jobs and in their careers and business and people, things like that. So that's why I do receive a lot of career and business questions. I mean, a lot. Um, and so one of them is always, John, what is the number one ingredient for career or business success? And my answer is always personal branding. Developing your personal brand before you. It's not something that I did, like I just did it and I knew to do it intuitively and things like that. No, I didn't know. Someone presented it to me. They gave me a book and I read it and I was like, okay, this makes sense. Developing a personal brand, uh, and it has served me very well through everything. When I'm trying to make a decision, it's my personal brand that I fall back on. It's my fundamental that I fall back on to help me make those decisions. And so when people think of personal brand, because you're probably asking, okay, so what is a personal brand? Personal brand in many ways, it's similar to a corporate brand. Let's think, for instance, when I say mobile phone, most people they will think of Apple, the iPhone, or if they're Android people, they will think of the Samsung. Those two phones. Those are two brands, and each one has a distinct set um, it has a different style. Each one has its own style, for lack of a better term. Uh, and people choose the iPhone for particular reasons. People choose Samsung for particular reasons. You know, and that's what that's because of branding. It and in for instance in the beverage world, when you think, hey, I want a here in the South we say soda. Up north they say pop. Um, and I get that from my family. I had family that was born in the South. They said soda. They moved up north, and the next year they came home. Give me a pop. I'm like, oh, it's a pop. I'm thinking pop. No, pop soda. Oh, okay. So, well, when you think of soda, what's a brand you think of? Most people will think of Coca-Cola. They will think of Coca-Cola. It's because Coca-Cola has done a lot of things. They've done some things, and I'm going to cover them here. The same way that Apple, same way that Samsung. You mentioned computer. Some may say the Apple computer. Some will say Dell. Some will say, these different products. Those are all brands. And when it comes to personal brand, a personal brand is who you are, it's what you stand for, it's the values you embrace, and it's the way in which you just express your values. Branding is basically how you express yourself. Um, in media, for instance, you say talk show. You say, who's the best talk show person in history? Most people are going to say Oprah, for instance. And Oprah has a brand. She's empowering. She protects her private life, but she's very authentic and intentional. And she's a teacher. She educates. You learn a lot and things, and you feel part of something bigger than yourself. And that just didn't happen over 1 or 2 days. She's been doing this for 40 plus years. That's just been who her brand got her fired from jobs, and her brand got her hired into a job that really allowed her to express her brand. And the reason why I'm talking about her, I read her story over the weekend, and and really, really study. I have read her story, but got really in depth about it to really understand what made her who she is, because I like to do that. I've done that. All of my heroes, I do that. And that's because of her personal brand is what, and she lives that brand every day. And that's what has made her the queen, even though she still does a talk show, but she's so much more than that. And that's what a brand would do also. I'll talk about that. She her talk her has made her the queen of talk show, even though she stopped the Oprah Winfrey show back in what two it's been well over 10 years now, and she's still considered the queen of talk. And that's because of her brand. And every time you saw her, when you see her, she's expressing that brand, even without words. You know what her brand is. And so, just as a company's brand help you to communicate your value, helps to communicate its values to customers, stand out from the competition. That's the same with a personal brand. Your personal brand will do the same thing for you. uh, Once you get it nailed down, it helps you to communicate your unique identity and clear value to potential employers or potential customers and clients. And I'll say this: if you're looking to change careers, your personal brand is probably the most important aspect of of what you are about as you make these changes. You don't have to change your brand. If you know your brand, and it is what you've embraced, and it really is authentically you, that brand will help you succeed in even other fields. That's why you see like corporate brand, corporate companies, for instance, Coca-Cola. They're more than just the product Coca-Cola. They own Sprite. They own a lot of other beverages, food companies, and things like this. You have entrepreneurs today that they became popular in one thing and then they spread it over. Oprah, for instance, her brand, part of her brand, she was not ashamed of was her weight, and she watched it, and you saw her on television every day. Some days she was heavier than other times and things like this. Well, now she owns Weight Watchers, and she's in other business ventures, and everything is because of that personal brand. Everything that she owns, if it doesn't fit her branding, her personal brand, she just won't deal with it. And that's what your personal brand will do for you. For instance, me personally, I'll share as I move down the line here, because people want to know basically how do you develop a personal brand. A personal brand, first of all, you just figure out who you are, what you're good at, what motivates you, what drains you. There's things that drain you that you don't like. That's part of your brand. You'll know not to do. Like, that's not what I do, so you won't be seen in that particular area, doing those particular actions, taking those types of actions. Uh, where are you complimented? To figure out where are you complimented. Where do you receive compliments? That's how you can start the process. You can ask friends, family, you can ask work associates, your boss, customers. Ask those questions as you're figuring out, and just plain and simple, just say, hey, I'm really nailing down what I'm really about, what I'm known for, what I'm good at, why people deal with me, why my clients deal with me, why my customers, why did you hire me, why do you like working with me. Those types of questions will help you understand your brand, and then you just listen for feedback. That's basically what you do. You just listen for feedback. For instance, with me, um, I thought when I got into business, I was like, okay, got into business, and first serious business, real estate sales, brokerage. As a matter of fact, um, I was really, this is when branding was given to me. A book about branding was given to me, and as I was studying it, and I was making sales, working with clients, and all of this, the feedback that I had gotten from them, I had some of my old, you know, where you had to do those annual reviews at your job. I came from manufacturing and retail, and so we had to do those reviews. We were constantly being reviewed, giving feedback, and my strengths. I noticed my strengths over here that my boss and managers was telling me pretty much the same thing that I was getting feedback for in sales, in real estate sales. It was basically the same thing. It was basically the same thing. I was dependable. I could get things. I got things done. I was very efficient. Um, they had confidence. My bosses would tell me, I just knew I could just give you a project and not worry about it, that you was going to handle it. You had you had leadership skills where you knew who to involve to make things happen and everything. So I felt very confident in giving you projects and not having to micromanage you, really not even having to manage you, just, make sure to just be there for you and give you what you needed when you need it. So I inspired confidence and things like that just by how I worked. Uh, Over here in real estate, it was the same thing. Time and time again, even if I didn't ask for the feedback, people, my clients would always say, what I really liked about working with you, I have a friend, I told them that, when they're ready to buy or sell their home, they really need to work with you because I was so busy. I worked with a lot of professionals, entrepreneurs, and people in government, work for government, people that really didn't have a lot of time to be hands-on with their purchase. They just needed to know what needed to be done. And every time and time again, I was given the feedback. I really appreciate that. I knew that everything was being taken care of. When um, you called, got what you needed, told me what was needed. You prepared me up front. I already knew what was going to happen. You had the people in place. I didn't have to do this. I have to do that. Some of them, they was like, or you gave me the leeway. If I wanted to be a little bit involved, you allowed me to, and you guided me and advised me. And time again, people were always saying, I felt like I was working more with an advisor than a salesperson. And you just move things to, they were so pain free and no headaches and even though there were problems, there was problem, real estate transactions, they bring their problems. Um, but I just used my experience and everything. And I was like, they're busy enough. I'm not going to let them know this. They have enough stress as it is. And I don't need to let them know that this deal almost fell through. Um, but I pulled the right people together that I knew that could make it happen. And then after the transaction, once, we're out having dinner or lunch or something, post closing, talking, I was invited to a lot of house warmings. And, that's where uh, I got to have my fun. But I would always tell them, oh, yes, it almost fell through a couple of times, but, it was no big deal. I handled it and everything. And they was like, I'm so glad you did not tell me that, because if you would have told me that, I would have stressed beyond measure. Other agents, they was talking about, I have, these clients, they're calling me at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. My very first buyer did that. And I've sort of understood. My manager told me, hey, that's what's going to happen. It just comes with the thing. If you do your job the right way, that stuff will go away. So I knew, prepare my people up front, do everything, talk to them, report to them. And so that was my brand. I established myself as that person. If you're busy or, and everything like this is the person you want to work with. He doesn't bring a lot of drama. He doesn't like drama in transactions, and he handles it. He squashes it. And so that was a big part of my brand, and it spilled over into people asking me about other things because they felt if I knew this, then I probably had some insight on this. And that's how this show ended up being like it is. It started as a real estate show, but because so many people were asking these other questions and I was getting the information for them and answering them and everything, it evolved. It gave me the leeway to go into other industries and businesses. And that's what a personal brand will do. So if you decide what you want to do after you figure out who you are, what you're good at, decide what you want to do, basically your industry, your profession, or your job type. Um, you take that and then you stack on top of that. How are you going to do it? What is your way? What is your style? Are you, like out there and everything like this, or you're like reserved and very methodical? it's your style. Are you efficient? Are you knowledgeable? Known for being knowledgeable, hands-on, no nonsense, very easy to get along with. Those types of things. Your sense of humor, all of that comes into play for your personal brand. And if once you develop that and hone it and work on it and adapt it for whatever you're involved in, the people that know their personal brand, they're never without clients, they're never without jobs, they're never without, they don't go through those long periods of not having jobs or things like that. It just doesn't happen to them because they know who they are, and they network with it. Their network knows what they're about, and they are always receiving opportunities, being pitched with opportunities. Always, people are always calling saying, hey, I know you may not be interested. I don't know. I didn't want to make that call, but this is what we have, and I just felt that first of all I needed to call you. You was one of the first people I thought about, and then I would make the decision. Well, no, right, not at the time, or that's not for me. But that's letting me know that my brand, that I'm staying true to my brand, and the opportunities that I'm receiving is allowing me to pivot and adapt to the business landscape out here. For instance, we have AI. AI is replacing a lot of jobs, but it cannot replace a personal brand, because even the people with personal brands, they're saying, okay, how can I adopt AI, artificial intelligence, into what I'm doing? So instead of fearing it, they're just embracing it because they know that it's a big change. It's huge. It's changing industries left and right, and it's changing them at like quickly. And so they are adapting. Okay, how can I adapt AI? How does my brand and AI work together? And they are moving forward and succeeding. And so just wanted to take the time today to answer that question, because it was posed to me. What's the first thing you should do? Especially when people want to get into business, or they're thinking of a career, or just doing their research. Take some time. One of the most important things is get that brand together. It's going to grow. It's going to evolve. Things like that. Your values may change. Things like this, and so just let it be what it is, but let it be authentically you and intentional. Make that one of your values, being two values: authenticity and intentionality. Put those two and then those other values around that, and you will never be without success or whatever. Even with finances, it will dictate how you spend your money, how you will save, how you will invest it, how you will do everything, how you will pass it on. Your personal brand will affect all of that. And so I hope that this information was very helpful to you. If it was, if you're watching by YouTube, share it, subscribe to the channel, like it. If you're on Facebook, share your comments, your wallet wins, send in those questions. I'll do my best to answer them. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. We'll talk.